Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Missed calls, slow replies, messages scattered everywhere. If you're running a business, that's not just annoying, it's revenue slipping away. That's where Quo comes in, spelled Q-U-O. Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2. One shared business number for calls and texts. Stop missing customers. Start capturing every opportunity. Try Quo free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com/tech. That's QUO.com/tech. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
Hello, and welcome to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm the attorney, Brooke Brigham.
So today we are continuing our Sister Wives coverage. This is season 18, episode 17, One-on-One Part 3. And much like all of these one-on-ones, there's a few really nuggets mixed in with too long a clips, like clips that are way too long that don't need to be this long, and some of the same old. So what were your thoughts on this episode?
Well, I definitely think this was the best one of the three that we've seen so far. It was the most revelatory, I thought.
Yes. There were some good revelations.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know. It's like, I feel like Kody was very, very dark in this episode. And I feel like, and Robyn too, and Meri finally put the final nail in the coffin. I thought she had last week, but I guess not. I don't know. It's like she finally has seen all the clips of Kody, disrespecting her, dehumanizing her, whatever. She finally stood up and made a declaration that, okay, I get it now. I get it. I see it. I've seen it all. It's over. So I was happy about that. I'm happy for Meri. I feel sorry, so sorry for her now. She's just been dragged through the mud. And Christina and Janelle are just laughing. They're just laughing. They're just, this is also, they have moved on a long time ago.
Well, so what I think is really interesting, and maybe I had an aha moment. Maybe everybody had this before and I'm slow to arrive to the party. But, what I've read and seen when I'm on the interwebs and on Instagram and reading what a lot of people have been talking about, because obviously since this episode aired, there's been a ton of talk about Robyn and the personality test. And we'll talk about that and Robyn and the cat. Yeah, Robyn and the catfishing and what happened there. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting was, Meri in the beginning of the episode, she was talking about how, she kept saying yes, I was seeing these things, but I really needed to hear it from him, and I wasn't hearing it from him. And I had this aha moment of, oh, I think this is part of this culture, right? That the understanding is in the sister wife culture, this is what I've read, is that much like a lot of cults, there's a lot of telling on each other. Right. So sister wives are supposed to tell on other sister wives. While there's supposed to be this bond of sister wives, you're so interconnected that really, truly, that one way to curry favor with the husband is to tell on another sister wife. Just like in Scientology, when you tell on another Scientologist, that sort of, brings your status up a little bit. And so I wonder if part of why it was so hard for Meri to accept it or hear it or understand it is if she just had such a hard time trusting or believing any of it, because she would maybe hear some things from she wasn't really talking to Christine or Janelle, right? But maybe she would see some things on TV, and then she would hear some things from Kody and it was different. And then she'd hear something from Robyn, it was different. Like, I think maybe she's so used to never really knowing what is the truth, so that she's sort of left to kind of always have to figure out for herself what is the truth. And that maybe it was like, we're all sitting here going, Meri, it's so obvious, don't you see it? But that she really has never really learned how to listen to herself, because she's been in this environment her entire life where people aren't really your friend, where it's all about, telling you one thing and believing another. Because she said that she's.
Well, I was going to say she's finally has I think understood the concept of actions speak louder than words, because she kept talking about how she needed to hear from Kody specifically and directly and unequivocally that we're over. Now, all of us are saying, well, hello, like he's been acting that way for 10 plus years. He's even said stuff to you, like, on their anniversary drive when she's like, I'm waiting for you. And he says, I'm not coming, or whatever that thing is. Like, how much clearer can it get? But I don't know. Somehow she thought it needed to be made clear. And now she even said something about, actions speak louder than words type of thing. But she still needed to have that verbal confirmation, which she had to hear in a confessional from Kody. And that was very painful for her. And she felt that it was very dehumanizing to her.
Yes.
And yes, it was. But of course. But Jesus, Meri. Well, look, we've been over this so many times. It's like Groundhog Day. These episodes are like Groundhog Day. But I think this episode, it's finally clear to her.
Oh, yes. No, she's a single lady. She does not have sister wives, and she is a single lady. That is very, very clear. But I do think that Meri just, I think, and I think that these women are so used to Kody's aloofness, his, the way in which they've been dealt with so often by him, that it's hard to kind of know, like, is this just Kody being Kody, or is this just the way it is? And I wrote this down. I was writing this down as Kody was saying this, because after this, Sukanya goes to Kody and she says, well, did you communicate how you felt with Meri? And this is what he said. First he says, yes. And then he says, well, wait, no. He says, we don't go deep into it. I really didn't want her reacting in a crazy way. We're not ripping off a Band-Aid here, but I know where we're at, and I've made that clear to her. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Everything.
Do you know
Kody
what I mean?
Yes. Everything Kody says in this episode is so nonsensical. Watching Kody in this episode was like, dude, like, what planet are you on? Like, it's really strange, just nonsensical, non sequiturs. Oh, he made no sense.
No, because
Nothing
doesn't make any sense.
Made sense.
He has no reason for the way in which he treated Meri. And the thing is that if he was going to be really honest about it, I think he would say, honestly, I never wanted to have the conversation with her. I wanted to keep the show going. Because the reality is, what is real is this. I didn't want to have the conversation with her. I wanted the show to keep going. I wanted that goddamn Lululemon leggings money.
Lululemon, how dare you besmirch?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. LuLaRoe. I wanted those LuLaRoe legging money. And I think he would have to say, and I knew this is what Robyn wanted. And Robyn was constantly in my ear talking you up. And I knew that it was piss her off and I didn't want to piss her off. So I kept kicking the can down the road. So he can't ever be honest. So this is why we get gibberish. This is why we see this all the time and all on the cults, the cult documentaries that we cover and all that. It's the same thing. It's this gibberish. And so Sukanya says, well, why didn't she receive that message? This is when I was like, I feel like Sukanya gets a bad rap because I don't think she has as much control over this stuff.
Yeah,
she did a bit on this one, but her response, why didn't she receive that message? I'm thinking to myself, Sukanya, please, can you interpret what Kody just told us? Because that makes no sense. Yeah. You're saying you told her, but you didn't tell her, but you don't want her reacting because you didn't want her to be crazy. Meaning, okay, you didn't want her to be mad at you. You didn't want her to be upset with you. And then you're talking about how it's a Band-Aid. So is it like ripping off a Band-Aid or is it like not ripping off a Band-Aid? Or do you have to do it like ripping off a Band-Aid? And then, but she knows where you're at and you've made it clear. It's just,
yeah.
It's like slamming your head against the wall.
I know. I don't know how to feel. Yeah, because I feel for Meri having to deal with someone like that who cannot even communicate. But then on the other hand, the writing was on the wall. She should have known. But she kept talking about how she had made this covenant and this commitment, and it meant something to her, and that she was going to stick it out. So, okay. I mean, that's, that was her choice. That was what she chose to do.
But the one thing is Kody does admit that he and Robyn are not on the same page about the Meri thing, that Robyn has always been Meri's advocate since they got married. And that Meri does point out, she says, Kody has had this respect for Robyn that he wouldn't string her along. And he said, well, why can't you have that same respect for me as a human being to be direct and honest with me? And I'm like, thank you, Meri. That's what needed to be said. And I wish she had said that to him to his face. And that's what it is about these separate goddamn couch, these one-on-ones that drive me crazy is like no one is getting called on their shit at all, ever.
And I'm sure it's all driven by Kody. I'm sure he's the one who says, like, I refuse to, sit on a couch with all these people, because I feel like the wives would be willing to do it and sit there and talk. And I'm sure, especially like Christine would probably love to say her piece. I don't know. Yeah, it's
But Kody isn't going to trash talk Meri because like other people and, hint, hint, Christine and Janelle. So he goes into this whole thing about how like, I'm going to spare Meri's feelings. Now you're going to spare her feelings. Like he goes into this whole thing of like being so benevolent that he's going to spare Meri's feelings. He's going to, spare her feelings. And I'm not going to say anything mean about her now that we're broken up, because I know what it's like to be trash talked and I'm not going to do that. It's like, you've been trash talking this woman to everybody in this family, to everybody but for her for decades. And you somehow think that you're on the right side of history here because you're choosing not to say anything about her now.
Well, yeah. And what was this thing that he said about, talking about this sacred covenant that he made to Robyn, that he promised her that if he fell out of love with her, he would never string her along like what he's doing to Meri. And so Sukanya confronts him on this. And he says, well, that covenant doesn't include the dissolution of my soul or my personality.
Ugh.
What does
So
that
basically
mean?
what it means nothing. You know what it is? What Kody finally admitted was this, is that, you know what? If people aren't happy in a marriage, they shouldn't be in a marriage. And even if you have these religious beliefs, even though maybe in your religion you take this vow, that maybe we shouldn't make these vows so black and white. That these vows are about like loving each other until the love, as long as we want to love each other and be in this love. And basically it's like, I don't disagree with you, Kody, but the reality is that, but part of that covenant, whatever you want to call it, is being respectful towards each other.
Correct.
And caring about each other.
Right. And also the fact
on that level, that's all she was asking for.
Right. And I feel this situation, they're stuck in this covenant because they're all financially dependent on this show where they have to act like they are a real functioning plural family where Kody loves all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if it wasn't for the TV show, you know, I don't think that any of them would have stayed with this treatment, with religious beliefs or not. I mean, that's the thing. They were so dependent on this show. It's their livelihood. They had to act like they loved each other in some way.
And this is why I don't understand how they have so much power to be able to say, we aren't going to sit on a couch together anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the part I don't get. I do not get. We have TV stars that bring in so much more money that don't have this kind of power.
Look at the housewives. They're forced. It's in their contract. They all have to show up and sit next to someone they hate, probably, and take a bunch of, you know, bullshit from people and berating and whatever. They can do it. Why can't the Browns do it?
Yeah, that's the part I don't understand. And listen, there are people. Listen, I worked in Hollywood. I know how these negotiations go. Like, these studios will be like, well, forget it. Then we'll find someone else. You know, I mean, what I don't understand is, does Kody hold so much power that these people can't be like, well, okay, fine, Kody, then we're just not going to do the show anymore. Either show up on the couch together or we're not doing the show. Play hardball with him. What is he going to do? Like, take the whole show and his big production company and find another outlet for it? Okay, go ahead. He's really going to figure out how to do that himself? Please. He needs you. He needs you much more than you need him.
Yeah,
I don't understand this.
He has this kind of weird relationship with that guy, Tim Gibbons, you know, the head of Pedal Monkey. He literally lives down the street from him on Coyote Pass. And, you know.
Wait, Tim Gibbons lives on Coyote Pass?
Yes.
Oh my God. Is Tim Gibbons also a polygamist? No.
I don't think so, but he literally lives in Flagstaff, like down the street from Kody. Because, you know, Ace and Caitlin, when they've done their reconnaissance, you know, missions, they know where he lives. They've seen Kody and other members of the family coming out of their house, out of Tim Gibbons' house. There's like a house. I think they might even do the confessionals there at Tim Gibbons' house. He lives in Flagstaff.
Wow.
Very curious. Like, why did they move to Flagstaff? You know, I guess, you know, to make it easier for Kody to cozy up to him. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. There's something not right, because if this show was like a Hollywood, LA, California produced show, this would not be happening.
Yeah. Yeah. So he must have some sort of relationship with Tim Gibbons that allows him to just dictate all of this crapola, because this is a bunch of bullshit. I'm just,
it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay. So, you know, Kody and Meri, I think we can shut the book on that.
Yeah. They're done. So then we watched this very long clip. Again, I don't know why these clips have to be so long, of Kody's meltdown.
Oh, which one? He said so many on this episode. Just melting.
Well, Well, no, the ones where they took all of the footage from the last season of him, like, I'm falling apart. I'm not happy. You know, oh God, I don't want Robyn to see the devil that I am. And
I want to live. He's talking about how he hates his life. He wants to go escape and go live somewhere else and change his identity or whatever he says. And
God,
it's just
just give up. And,
oh God,
my life is over.
You poor baby. God, you created all of this, and guess what? You can fix it all too if you just put a little bit of. He's put no effort into fixing his life, his situation.
Yeah,
0 effort.
Well, so. What I thought was really interesting, and I was like, I think we're seeing a new Meri, and I'm here for it. Which is Sukanya, instead of going to Kody and being like, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you? The first person they talked to is Meri, and she's like, oh, have you ever seen Kody like this? And Mary's like, no, this is very different. He's changed a lot. And she's like, oh, are you, oh my gosh, are you worried about him? What are you going to do? And Mary's just like, I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Because this is not my problem. I'm like, thank you. Good for you, Meri. I was like, this is Meri setting boundaries. This doesn't make Meri a bad person or a mean person. This is the father of her child. She certainly cares what happens to Kody, but it is not her job to solve Kody's problems. It's Kody's problem. It's none of these women's problems. It's Kody's problem. And I was like, you do not need to worry about what Kody's going to do or not do. I was like, good for you, Meri. You're a single lady now.
Great. That was great. Yeah. So and Janelle and Christine clearly don't give a shit. But Robyn, Robyn,
yes.
God, I kind of sort of a little bit felt bad for her because she's talking about how he's always mad. He's angry. Like, none of these people know who he is anymore. Robyn says that, he's suspicious of anyone being disloyal. And then Kody goes into this whole rant about how he doesn't want to be good. And he doesn't want Robyn to know how dark he's gotten. And he has thoughts of leaving and running away. And he hates his life. And he wants to change his name. And it's like...
And he wants to leave Robyn and have another lover.
Yes.
Another lover. I'm like, ew.
What are you
Don't use that
talking
word.
about? Yeah. Like, and I get, it seems like he's threatened her with this. Like, I should just leave and just go off and find another lover. And, because Robyn really, again, she seemed very shell-shocked and very upset. And, she's talking about how he's self-sabotaging, angry, imploding. He tries to pick fights over dumb things. And they're in different places about what she calls the bomb that went off in their family. She's mourning. He's angry. I mean, just going on and on. Yeah, he's talking about leaving Robyn for another lover, but then he would regret that because he's really in love with Robyn. It's like, oh my God, what are you? Just like a word salad. What are you talking about?
Well, and the other thing too is, as we learned, I think last week, and as I mentioned, one of my big pet peeves, and I think it's really destructive, are people who tell you everything that's in their mind all the time. Is I think some of it might have been a threat. I think also it's a bit of Kody of like, maybe I should just find someone else and leave you. I'm a bad person. Like that whole thing. I think he just, every thought he has, he's just thinking it out loud and saying it to Robyn, which is so destructive. And I'm looking at my notes and I just wrote down, anger is easy. And this is what drives me crazy about Kody is anger is a very, very easy emotion to stay in, to get stuck in, to be in, and to just live in. You know what's hard? Forgiveness. You know what's hard is having a sense of peace. You know what's hard is moving past something, like letting go. Like Meri saying, you know what? I wish him well, but this is not my job, or this is not what this is anymore. Janelle being able to see the good with the bad, like all of these things that we're talking about, those things are much, much harder. Anger, just being angry and lashing out is what a teenager does, because they don't have the emotions, the experience, the skills, the tools to deal with how they feel. And
Or a
when
toddler.
and that's the thing is that anger is normal. It's okay. It's okay to feel angry. We all feel it. But I'm always like, I think it's always very telling about people. How long do you stay angry? How long do you stay mad? How long do you stay there? Because I do think that basically, after a day or two about particular incidents or things that happen, you're kind of treading on thin ice. Like you can't, it depends on what it is. Everything's a range of what happens to you. But like a disappointment, a hurt, you're disappointed about a business opportunity that didn't work out the way you thought it did. You got a day or two. A breakup, you got a couple months, or 6 months. You've been married 20 years. Okay, I'm going to give you a year or two. Like, but there's a little bit of this. There's
a limit.
Kody.
Yeah.
Okay, you've been in this place for a while now. You got to move on. And I think it's very telling that he can't, because I think he is the laziest person ever. He is so lazy.
Yeah, no, he doesn't want to deal. He doesn't want to deal with anything hard. Anything, he doesn't want to deal with anything hard, period. I don't care what it is. He just wants to float through life being this happy-go-lucky guy. And we'll get to this in a little while, in that he created this family structure that was a disaster. Because
he said something later on that I wrote a note about his leadership skills. He created a situation without any thought, or a total disaster. We'll get to that. But so, basically I think it was Janelle who said that, like, it became apparent like during COVID, but I think that it was even before that. As he spent all of his time with Robyn, it became basically off limits to say anything bad about Robyn, because she was the loyal one. And so if any of the wives said anything, it was like, well, you can't talk about Robyn because she's loyal. And if you talk about her that way, then, you're my enemy. And Kody says that he has one child who always complained that he was always at Robyn's house. And who do you think that child is? Garrison?
Yeah.
Gwen? Oh, Garrison.
No, Garrison. I'm positive. I'm positive it's Garrison. Positive. Yeah. But I mean, the point is like, and then he says, Kody says, like, I think about talking about Garrison, but anyone really that, anyone who blames Robyn for the problems in this family, he says they better shut up or I'll punch you in the mouth. She was doing everything to be compliant. I'm like, excuse me?
And what Janelle was saying, yes. Well, and what Janelle was saying too was that, even if you expressed how you were feeling respectfully, even if you said, hey, this happened, I'm feeling this way or whatever, it's like you weren't safe, which again is a little bit of like that cult leadership, that cult mentality, like it's my way or the highway. It's this way, what it is. And Janelle, she was very right. She was like, I should be able to express my thoughts about Robyn. Right. And I think that was maybe one of the nails in the coffin for Janelle, was the fact that, like, he has gotten so insane about this that I have to be able to express how I feel. And that's nuts.
Yeah, no. And I think that was from day one. You know what I mean? I think this has been going on forever. Anyone who complained about Robyn or it was like, well, no, Robyn's loyal. She does, she doesn't challenge me, or she does whatever I say. So if you... And that whole thing about him saying, to Christine, you've never been nicer, all of that. Just all of it.
Yeah, this is where he got into this whole thing about, like, I was equitable about my time. Robyn has been blamed for everything, things that, she's been blamed for everything, things that I did, that he did, Kody. And there was a shift in blame towards Robyn, and that got him so angry, and he didn't want to hear about it. And he was so sick of the complaints, the punch in the mouth thing. And all I'm thinking to myself is, okay, so let me get this straight. you're basically saying like, I don't want to hear the complaints. I don't want to hear anything. So you're telling us then, sir, you are not a leader. You should not be leading anything. You are not a manager. You are not a leader. You are not the head of a household. You are not any of those things. Because rule number one to being a good leader is the fact that, I'm sorry, this is life.
Yeah.
Life, being a leader, running something, being a manager is listening to somebody's complaints.
And managing
It's listening to
people.
someone's complaints.
Yeah.
And managing people and helping them. And I'm sorry that you don't want to hear it, but that is how it works. I'm sorry that you don't want to hear it. It's like me going to my clients and being like, yeah, God, I'm having a rough day. I really don't want to hear about your problems right now. Like, your complaints are bringing me down or whatever it is. It's like, no, your job was to be the head, quote unquote, was to be the head of this household. So part of that job is you deal with people's issues and people's feelings. And of course, their complaints, they can't possibly be, maybe it's not necessarily a complaint. Maybe it's actually how someone feels. Is it that? You know,
Right.
It's just, you are a word salad, angry, bad leader. You are the worst leader I have ever seen.
Yeah. You claim to be the head of this family. So as the head of the family, your job is to manage all of these relationships. And, I don't know, I hate to say this. This is a typical male thing. Like whether you're talking about a family of 4 or a family of 18 or whatever. God, man, they just don't want to deal with this stuff. They do not want to talk about feelings and whatever. And even with all that therapy that they did, I mean, it was all centered around Kody. He controlled all of it. And the women were just sort of like, oh, yeah, okay. I mean, it was so unproductive, obviously, Yeah. Okay. So you can't say anything bad about Rob. Not even saying anything bad, just bringing up your feelings. Like, I feel like Robyn's getting more time, or I feel like this. Oh no, he'll punch you in the mouth if you say that.
Yeah. Don't say that.
And then somehow we get into the Enneagram.
Is that what the personality test they were talking about?
I'm sure, because they were talking about numbers, like, I forget which.
Well, she said I'm a 3 or a B.
Right.
I'm like,
so I'm a 3. And then, I am positive they took an Enneagram test. And somebody posted on somewhere, they showed the scene from where they were all, they had this group therapy session with Nancy, and she's passing out, these things they have to fill out. So I'm pretty sure it was the Enneagram.
Okay, I got to look up the Enneagram, because I've done the Enneagram, but I haven't done it in a while. And there's some therapists that like really get into the Enneagram and like they use it in their therapy. And so,
well, I actually.
So do you know what you are?
I do. Now, I read the Enneagram book years ago, and for years I thought I was a 5 because I just the
investigator.
Right.
I can see that. Okay.
But then about a year or so ago, I was part of this online group of like women of a certain age. And one of the things we did was we did this Enneagram typing session with a woman who was like an expert in the Enneagram. And I did the typing session, and I found out I was a 6, not a 5.
The loyalist. Okay.
Yeah. So, the Enneagram I find very interesting. But so Christine says that they did this personality test, which I believe was the Enneagram. And Robyn was, I don't know what number this is.
You know what it is? I'm looking
drama.
Okay, I'm looking at it now. I'm just looking at a very quick one. I think she's this is 4. The individualist, the sensitive, withdrawn type, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental.
Okay.
I think I need to take a test. How do I take a test?
Well, you can take a test online. You have to pay, I don't know, it's like $10 or something to do.
Yeah, I'm going to, the Enneagram Institute. I think I'm going to take this again, because I've thought for a while, I thought I was a 7. And then I thought I was, I thought I was a 7, and then I thought 7 is the enthusiast, the busy, fun-loving type, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. And then I thought I was a 1, the reformer. I don't know if I am that.
You know,
I thought I was a 3.
I found it very helpful when I did this typing session with this Enneagram specialist because they really, I can send you the information, but they really get into, because those online things, it's kind of hard. But like when you talk to someone who actually knows the Enneagram and they can talk to you in real time and ask you questions and say, well, do you think you're more like this or that? It's very helpful. I thought it was much more accurate because our father is a 5. This is like
I gotta go back.
An extreme like introvert. Like they just cannot be around people. And I always thought because the way that they label the numbers is not always really
he is
accurate.
A 5.
He's a 5, and I thought I was a 5. But no, I'm not that extreme. I'm a 6. But a 6 is a person who's kind of controlled by fear.
Suspicious. The loyalist, the committed, the committed, security-oriented type, engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious.
Yeah, that's me.
What do you think Mom is? The enthusiast, the busy, fun-loving type? Is that Mom? The challenger? I don't think
maybe,
really
but
care.
she has a lot
the
of
helper
aspects about her helper, possibly. I don't know.
The caring, interpersonal type, demonstrative, generous, people-pleasing, and possessive. Huh. Oh, I got to go back. I got to do this. So the woman who did it, did you pay her?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was like,
send me the info. Maybe I'll do it.
Yeah. No, and she's a really, really cool person. She's very easy. She's very like cut to the chase. You know, she's not real woohoo. She's more like very cut to the chase. And she's like, okay, now tell me this. You know, I liked her a lot. I'll send you the information. But
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the Enneagram is just like, it's not so much, well, I guess it's technically a personality test, but it tells you like the lens through which you see the world, the lens through which you experience the world. And so what they were saying was that Robyn is very like kind of like almost like a busybody, like really wants to be involved in everyone's relationship. Like that's why she always wanted to come along and be involved in these conversations, because she said she quote unquote spoke Kody, I think of busybody.
When Christine was talking about it, she was talking about like she loves listening to everyone's drama, live for the connection with people in their drama and all of that. And I was thinking about myself, I'm like, oh God, is that me? Like, do I like that? Because I do like people's drama. I do like hearing the stories, because that's part of my job is I get to hear a lot of really good, stories and the drama and this and that. And I think that when I was thinking about this, and I think this is probably true for anything in life, right? And true for the Enneagram is that we can take these traits that we have and we can use them in a positive way, or we can use them in a really negative way. And I think that's the thing, right? I think Robyn at her best probably is a really good listener and someone who really can help you and really does want to get into your problems and help you and be there for you and support you. I think the problem is that she's, I think that she somewhere along the way, I don't know, Robyn, I find such an enigma. I cannot put my finger on her. And I think it's because we don't really know her, because she's not truthful with who she is. I think she shows us one version of us on camera. And I think she's a different person on the inside. And I think she's constantly evolving and changing who she is based on public reaction to her. And I don't think she knows who she is. So I don't think we see who she is. So it's really hard for me to know and get a sense of who she is. That's always been what's been hard about Robyn, how I feel like I've never been able to connect with her or even understand her. Like, Meri, I don't particularly love, but I can understand Meri.
Yeah.
Robyn's hard to understand, but
Well, Kody even said that Robyn was very upset that she was always kind of like the least popular sister wife. And he talked about the tabloids and the press who would, talk badly about her, like that was her role. And so that in and of itself, that tells you she very much cares what people think of her. So it's almost like it's demonstrative, it's performative. It's not genuine. So like when she is saying, oh, I just want us all to get along and I just want that's performative. She doesn't really want that. She just wants the world to think, oh gosh, what a nice person, what a generous, loving person. But really in reality, she wants what she wants.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. I have always said that I don't think she's very bright, because I think in the back of her mind, she probably thinks that by her like, oh, okay, I'm going to have Meri, hold on, and this will make me seem like I'm such a good sister wife because I'm supporting this other marriage, and that's going to make me look so selfless, but I don't really have to expend much because he's not sleeping with her or doing all that and all of these things. But at the same time, what she doesn't get is that no, Robyn, but what we see is somebody who, if you were really a friend to her, you would be honest with her. Like, it's almost like, are you too stupid to know that we see what's going on here? Or like, do you not see the levels? I just don't think she's like, really smart people would have figured this out and done a much better job of being a bit more manipulative. She's a bad mastermind. I don't know.
All right. Well, we got to move on. We still have a lot to
Sorry. This is the whole the personality test thing, though. But this is what's been on social media because I've seen 1,000,001 things. Everybody's been posting about this of all of the, season 6, episode 10. Here's Robyn filling out a form.
Right. She did take the personality test, even though she's now pretending like she has no idea. Like, and then she says, well, if I did take it, somebody else filled it out for me and those weren't really my answers. And it's just like, I mean, God,
come on.
Do you have a brain injury? Like she is so, the way she talks and the way she comes across and the way it's just like, what is wrong with you?
Well, I was watching her in this segment, and first they say, well, do you remember the personality test? And she says, oh, no, I didn't take that, because that's always her stance on everything. Right. And then when Sukanya goes, oh, that's weird, because Christine said that you took a personality test, all of a sudden her eyes started blinking. So blinking, I watched her.
I know.
They started to blink a lot, and then you could see her chest raising, and I'm like, she's anxious. She suddenly got very anxious, and that is a sign of lying. And so she started blinking. And then she started doing the thing that liars do, which is she started concentrating really hard to make it look like she was really thinking really hard about, this is in the recesses of my mind over here. And then she was like, oh, okay, yeah, I did take the personality test. I just want to say something. People always remember personality tests. People always take them. Nobody ever takes a personality test for another person. No one ever does that because we're too self-involved.
What would be the point?
We are too self-involved. And usually we remember what our own results are. I mean, listen, if you're old enough and you've taken enough of these, you forget over time. But that is that was the most ridiculous lie, but she got caught. She got caught when Sukanya, and then she made up a new lie, which is, oh, I didn't, someone took it for, it's like, no, honey, no one takes personality tests for someone else. No. Nobody does that. There is no secondary gain for that.
No, thank God Sukanya was on her game this episode,
Yeah.
She really was. She was really pushing it. But and so, Christine talks about, like she says she doesn't trust Robyn.
Shit.
She never wanted to be part of polygamy. But then, so then Sukanya asks Meri if she's less lonely in Parowan. And Meri says, yes, I have my best friend Jen there.
Yes.
And then it turns to, I don't know how it turns to this subject, but then they start talking about, I don't know if Meri says this, there's a friend of Robyn's.
Yeah, you know how it starts? I'll tell you.
Okay.
Sorry. It was this whole thing about Jen. Does Jen have your back? Jen has her back more than anyone else. Does Robyn have your back? Robyn has her back, but I don't trust her. And that's how the whole thing started because of the catfishing. Sorry.
Yeah. So Robyn had this friend who inserted herself into the catfish situation to get information regarding Meri. So then I had to go online and try to do some rudimentary research. I didn't have a lot of time to do this, but basically Robyn had this friend named Kendra, and Kendra was involved with My Sister Wife's Closet. and helped her with that. But then at some point, Robyn and Kendra got into a tiff, which ended their friendship over a tax disagreement because Robyn was trying to. Okay, so Kendra had a hookup to make some T-shirts for my sister wife's closet, and when Robyn paid her for some of the money to pay for these T-shirts, she tried to claim that those were Kendra's wages so that she could write them off, but they really weren't wages. And then Kendra got a tax bill because she had these wages that she didn't pay taxes on, according to Robyn, and she didn't get paid, everything she was supposed to get paid. So anyway, Kendra, was pissed. So then she teamed up with Jackie Overton after this falling out with Robyn, and she publicly sided with, Jackie, aka Sam Cooper, and went online and validated, saying that Sam was, that this person was a man, and alleged that he had an in-person sexual relationship with Meri, I guess to just, hurt the family. Whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't have time to delve into this. I don't understand Reddit. I don't understand how to get on Reddit and find out any information. I don't know. But
I just recently figured out Reddit, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah. But Sukanya asked her, this came up, and Sukanya asked her about something about, with Meri and the situation, and Robyn claimed to know something about it. And Sukanya said, well, how do you know this? And Robyn said, from somebody. And I hate it too when the Browns, they will never name names. They always say somebody, a person in our family. Okay, say their fucking name. Because I'm just confused. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with any of this. But yeah, Robyn's saying.
But I thought the story was different than that. I thought the whole thing was that Kendra was what I thought what Robyn was telling us was that Kendra was a friend of hers. She had inserted herself into the situation, and that she was getting information from Jackie Overton, Samuel Cooper, that Meri and Jackie were having an in-person sexual relationship, and taking that back to Robyn, and that Robyn, being such a good person that she is, was taking all that information back to Meri and sharing it with her, like saying, hey, this is what's being reported, this is what I'm hearing from Kendra, and then this is what people are saying. This is what people are saying. But that really the real story was, and I've heard different versions of it. It's so confusing when I see it online, when people are talking about it, because I'm like, even online, it's confusing. Like even with big, long Facebook posts and Instagram posts where people are, I'm like, I'm still confused. Like they'll show text messages between Robyn and this Kendra. And I'm like, who's saying what? Who's saying what to whom? Like, what's happening here? Because I still don't understand. Did Robyn send Kendra in? Did Kendra do this all by herself? Was Kendra, we know that Meri and Jackie Overton did not have a sexual relationship, but
well, do we? I don't know. What do we know?
Well, okay. But I mean, but was Kendra put in there to help Robyn, feed her, and do this? Was Robyn taking this information and going back to Kody and telling Kody, and Meri found out about that? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have enough time to figure it out. And I try to figure it out online by reading these people's posts. I still can't figure it out, Maybe if I had so
if anyone out there can explain it to us, we are so confused.
If I had 5 hours to research it, maybe I could figure it out, but I don't know. I mean,
all right. Well, maybe I'll try to get on the Reddits, and but I feel like I'm going to go down a long, long rabbit hole on Reddit. And that's the other thing too is, every time you find an account where you're like, oh, this sounds good. Okay, I'm going to follow this person. Everyone's like, that person doesn't know what they're talking about.
That person's a fraud.
So it's hard to know what's true. It's hard to know what is real and true. And people are like, these are verified text messages. I'm like, well, how do I don't know, but everyone keeps telling me that you're not true. So,
well, okay, we can at least say that Robyn is messy. Robyn and her friend Kendra were being messy.
Messy bitches.
They were trying to find out information about Meri. Robyn is not really Meri's friend. Yeah, I mean, that's the point. Let's look at this big picture, 30,000 feet view.
Big picture,
the big picture. They this is all fake. Like, all these relationships, this show, the only relationship I believe in is Janelle and Christine. Everything else is just, it's just fake. I don't know what to say. It's not real. So anyway, okay. So
anyway, and then we get into this whole thing where we have to watch Robyn cry for 20 minutes about being called an ex-sister wife by Meri.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to let go. And I'm not just being dramatic. Sorry, Christine. And, okay. So then we get into this whole thing about how, is this where we get into the Christmas exchange texts?
Yes,
messages.
the text. And I was like, we learned, I don't feel like, do we learn much that is new?
Well, but she took it to a new level. She was saying stuff like, she was being told, this is Robyn, was being told by someone that the Brown kids hated her and her kids. I don't know who that someone is. And so apparently the text thing, it was 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m., Pacific time, I guess 7 p.m., whatever that next time zone is, Mountain time. And Robyn was saying she wanted everyone to jump on a Zoom call or something. And all the kids who are on the East Coast are like, well, now it's 9:00. We can't do this right now. And that Robyn, got upset by that. And she said, well, you guys have treated me so badly and treated her kids so badly. And, all because they didn't want to have a call at 9 p.m. And Robyn's kids said that they no longer felt emotionally safe to be part of the gift exchange.
So here's my question. Christine said, I was not on the chain. So the sense that I get is all the kids are on the text chain. Like, parents are not on that text chain.
But somehow Robyn was on it.
Yeah. So how did Robyn get on the text chain?
Probably because Aurora and Brianna said, Mom, come here. Because they're so she's got them so brainwashed that, they can't be on a text chain with these other people without her, or, her inserting herself in it.
And Christine was, and Robyn's claim is, my kids have felt like we weren't part of this family from the beginning. And Christine's like, well, then why weren't we told? Mm-hmm. Like, why is this coming out now? Why is this information coming out now? And then this other thing too, which is Robyn goes into this whole thing about how her little kids don't remember the older kids. They don't know their names. I'm thinking to myself, that's on you. Mm-hmm. Is that Hunter's job? No. Right. Well, I'm sorry, Robyn. Pull out a photo and go, this is Daddy Logan. He ran things before
he raised
you got
you.
No, all these other kids, he raised all these kids. This is Aspen. She raised all these other kids. This is so. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's not on the other kids to remind the little kids, to remind Saul and Ari who they are.
But also, it's also a natural consequence of having children 20 years apart.
Yes, that too.
That's just what's going to happen. When Daddy Logan left before Saul and Ari were even born. So, that's not his fault. This is the consequences of your actions, people. You set this up that way. And this was really interesting. Janelle actually told the truth and said, as a matter of fact, we probably shouldn't have done this. Probably shouldn't. She said, we didn't really take our kids' feelings into account. And again, all the wives were acting, at least Christine and Janelle. I don't know about Meri, but Christine and Janelle were acting. They did not want Robyn in this family. They did not. And their kids did not. And it was like, it's this thing where something is forced on you. You know, when like his new wife, this is a tale as old as time. Okay. And again, men don't think this is any big issue. It's no big problem. We're just going to bring this woman in. She's going to be your new mom. We're going to bring some new kids in. You're going to have to like be siblings with them. You're just going to have to accept it. And as a consequence of all this, they had to leave Lehigh. You know, their lives were like, they were traumatized. Their lives were severely disrupted. Oh, yeah, guess what? Those kids are pissed. I'm pissed at shit that like I had to go through and you had to go through over shit like this. And these fucking men usually, I mean, sometimes it's women, but it's mostly men think, oh, it's no big deal. It's going to bring in this new wife, going to bring in some kids, and you guys all just kind of get along. And oh God, now we're shocked that 20 years later, 10 years later, whatever it is, 10, 15 years later, like people are upset about this. Shocking.
Yeah. I know. And you know, the thing is because we were talking about this on we were talking about documentaries about generations and such. And I do think a lot of this is a generational thing. I do think that a lot of this is going to change, because I think what's so interesting is, you know, what we're seeing now is that with parents, if you don't, you know, yes, parents screw up. They screw up all the time. And Janelle is willing to say, and Christine, they're both willing to say, yeah, we probably didn't do this very well. Yeah. We probably should have been better about it. We probably should have done this. The thing is that if you're willing to go to your kids and say, you know what, you're right. I screwed up, you know, because when you're a parent, you know, you're so like focused on, we got to move, we got to move, we got to move, we got to do this. Now we got to do this. Now we got to do this. Like, it's very easy to kind of just forget about your kids and their feelings and that they're people, and, you know, and to just kind of like, I got to keep it moving. I got to get to work. I got to put food on the table. I got to, you know. And so the thing is that what parents don't realize is that your kids, they need some kind of accountability on your end in order to keep and bond and have a relationship with you as they get older. Do you know what I mean? There has to be, you can't just assume.
Accountability.
So just assume.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Yes.
Parents do this all the time. They just assume that because I'm the parent and I provided for you for 18 years or however long it was, or put you through college or whatever it is, that you have to be or should be loyal to me, or this is how it is. And the reality is that, and I think that this is like, I think that Kody is he's older than we are, or he's about your age.
He's like my age, yeah.
But like, yeah, he's a Gen Xer. And I think that he grew up how we did, in the sense of like, you just have to put up with crap. You know, you just kind of have to deal with stuff. This is how it is. This is how it is with your life. Our parents had to put up with stuff, so we had to put up with stuff. And I think what we're seeing with these newer generations is they're very much about like, no, you need to take accountability, or no. Like, I, you know, you need to apologize, or I need something from you, or like, oh, no, then you don't need to be in my life, or I'm going to set some boundaries around this, or whatever that is. And what's happening now is that you can see it so clearly is that they are so stuck. Kody is so stuck in this place of, they're my children, so they need to absolutely do what I want to do all the time, that he's, you know, obviously lost all these relationships. And then, of course, you know, blaming Janelle and Christine. But it's the whole thing it's a goddamn mess. But it is, again, they're changing history again, because I'm sorry, this has never been brought up before, ever. No. And I'm with Christine when she says, wait, what? You've never felt like you were part of this family? I felt like my kids saw how you were. And then Robyn brings up this whole thing about how, oh, well, sometimes in the past I had to, you know, some of Christine and Janelle's kids like picked on her kids. I'm like, well, yeah.
All siblings
because that's how
do
things
that.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
all siblings. Yes. And especially when there's that many of them and there's that wide of an age range. I mean, you and I never, you know, we didn't have like, I remember our dad always talks about how they used to pin down our Uncle Jim. So there's 3 boys and a girl. Our Uncle Jim is the youngest little boy. They used to pin him down on the ground and like hang a loogie over his face. Ugh. Like they were going to like spit this loogie in his mouth. And that sounds like torture. And they talk about these stories and they laugh about them.
Yeah. Well, they were all like, they had, our poor grandmother had 4 children in 5 years. So they were all very close in age. You and I, like, because I have to say, I'm very lucky because I have an older sister who was not at all like mean or.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you were much more. Honestly, it was more of like you were probably too mothering.
You called me bossy quite a bit.
Yes, but she is. You're bossy. You are bossy. But it was, I knew it came from a place of love because I've heard some horror stories about sisters that did the meanest things to each other, like, you know, cutting each other's hair and, you know, like stealing their stuff. Like we never did. That wasn't part of it was we didn't live together for a chunk of time. But like the other part of it was, I don't think that's not how we were raised because at the same time, that our father was telling us these stories. If we got into any kind of fight, he's like, this is your sister. You two, you're going to be making decisions when we die. You need to get along. You know, it was like
practical.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was. I was like, you know, when this is maybe what Mom said. When everyone's gone, it's just going to be the 2 of you. So you need to get along.
But yeah, what did Robyn think? She thought it was going to be this utopia where everyone was just, and I'm sorry, like, remember how excited Aurora always was? And she's always hugging everybody and embracing everybody and people embraced her back. I mean, what is she talking about? Where was this bullying? And like the other kids, they now talk about, like Gabe was talking about how and Garrison talking about how they want to not mend their relationship, but like get back into a relationship with Dayton because they really like Dayton. I have heard nothing but positive, you know, and Gabe and Aurora hugging in the science building. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Robyn? She is planting these things in their heads. And that's what Christine said. She said, there was no like problem there. There was no division there. Like Robyn planted that there. She put it there. And then at one point, drama. I forget who it was who said that Aurora or Brianna was saying that, you know, because of this horrible sibling relationship that they had or non-relationship, you know, they didn't feel part of the family and they didn't feel like they could have families of their own because of this. I'm sorry, that's not something that an 18 or a 21-year-old would say. That is she's brainwashed them.
Yeah.
Into saying crazy, crazy things. And the fact that this call hold on, who said?
But I thought some of the other kids said that. I thought some of the other kids said, "Oh, you treated me." What Robyn was claiming that it wasn't her kids that said it was like, "You treated us so horribly that I'm questioning whether or not I even want a family."
Oh,
and I
maybe.
can see,
I don't know
personally. Either way, hold on. This again is like, how do you interpret it? Do you interpret like a 20-some-odd-year-old going, and you know, I didn't feel like you treated me very well, and it makes me question whether or not I really want to have a family. That's a very normal thing for a 20-some-odd-year-old to like wonder about themselves as they question their lives and all of that. But again, this is a bit of Robyn's problem, and I think I know now why Robyn wants to be in a plural marriage. She wants drama. This is the only reason why she wants to be in a plural marriage. She doesn't want to live polygamy. She doesn't want to share. She doesn't want to share her husband. She doesn't want to share resources. She doesn't want to get along with other people. She wants to be able to call people sister wives. And she wants to be able to have a lot of people in her world so that she can gossip and control people and talk about them and not have to work. This is my new theory. Like, this is it. I think
accurate.
Whether or not she would ever admit it, or even if I don't even think she's aware of it. I truly don't think she's even aware of it. I don't think she's smart enough to be aware of it. But I do believe that she is called to this because this gives her, because I don't think that has she ever been happy? Has she ever been happy?
Doesn't seem like it.
That woman, that smile of her, like even when she's just like normal, like most of us, our resting face is kind of like, normal. It's like it's like this big frown.
Yeah.
Like her resting face is such a frown. She is never happy. I don't think she ever wants to be happy.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So finally, I was so happy that Janelle actually said, Robyn coming into the family, I think she said it was forced and it was a disaster and everyone just had to deal with it. And they were all just told, the kids were all told they have to accept it. And finally, God, someone actually spoke the truth.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
What a disaster. What a disaster. What a disaster.
Well,
so
it at the very end. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and I think at that time, I think they got the show. I think Robyn came in. I think they got the show. And I think there was like, we got the show. We got Robyn. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm driving down to St. George. We need money. Let's do that. I mean, I think that was the other part of it. And again, I think you're an adult and you're kind of like, okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I think that part is really hard, but you just acknowledge it. Like your kids don't need a ton. They just need some level, like acknowledging it and apologizing and taking some accountability will go a long way for people. People just want to be seen and heard, and people just want you to say, you know what, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that happened.
It is what it is.
Acknowledge
yeah. It's what happened.
It's happened.
It's happened. But yeah, just say, God, sorry for like all the grief that this has caused. And, we thought we were doing the best we could. The whole thing, like when you look at your parents, the best attitude you can take is they did the best that they could with the knowledge that they had at the time and what they knew at the time.
Yeah.
That's the most grace you can extend to your parents. And I extend that grace to my parents. And I hope my daughter extends that grace to me. But you've got to be able to admit that your mistakes. And if all you have to do is admit your mistakes to your kids, and it'll all be fine. And I'm not talking about cases of extreme abuse or anything. I'm just talking about normal, bullshit. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, and you know what? You can even write it in a letter. You don't even have to, like, if you feel like you couldn't put it in words, like, you can write it down. You can go to a therapist, and a therapist can help you process these feelings and help you put that letter together, or even facilitate the conversation. I mean, you'd be amazed how far that would go. But at the very end, and I was so bummed because I thought we were going to meet David Woolley Brown, and we didn't. Well, I'm so eager to meet him.
We sort of met him
soon.
He came in, but yeah, and I don't know. I was so happy. Oh, I still am very happy for Christine, and but I don't know. The story about their courtship is it keeps getting like shorter and shorter, and like it's like it sounds to me this was the first guy she met on a dating app. And, the first day, and, and they had a few dates, and then all of a sudden they had that night where, she laid her, her head in his chest and breathed for the first time, and everything was perfect. And
my heart beat for the first time, my soulmate.
Yes.
I feel so loved. Well, you know what? And of course, what did she say? She said she felt confidence in herself like she never felt before, because there's no strings attached, to feel desired and desirable.
Yes.
I mean, this is what I wonder. That's why I really want to meet David, because I'm wondering if he's just sort of a nice guy, and that because he's not Kody, he's not such a raging dick, that like he actually listens to her and he's like, oh, what do you think, Christine? Or like, how do you feel about that, Christine? Or like maybe that he's given her an orgasm, like, or something like that. Like for
the first time
like,
in her
oh my
life.
God.
Yeah. Well,
yes, like
the
this
bar,
person, like
the bar is so low.
Yes.
So
yes.
low.
Yes. I mean, it's like a woman coming out of prison and she is just like, so that's what I wonder. And so I don't think that David is as amazing and wonderful as she makes him out to be. And at the same time, I do really, really hope that he is and she will continue to feel this way about him for the rest of her life. Like, I am fine with the fact that he is just, if he is just an average person, but she sees him this way and he makes her feel this way. It's like, great. Do you know what I mean? Like, you see him as a Prince Charming. I am so happy for you if that's the rest of your life. Like, and even if he's like a mediocre kisser, if this feels like heaven on earth,
she doesn't know.
Great.
Yeah, but that's the
she
thing.
doesn't know and she doesn't care. And it feels great.
What is a regular person? What is a mediocre person? To her, like she says, he loves me. He desires me. I can be myself. I don't have to earn his love. Like, those are very basic things. And that is the recipe for a long, loving relationship. Not a Prince Charming, not an amazing person, not some high. You know what? Stay away from hot guys. They're assholes for the most part, you know, because they've never had to try. They've never had to put any fucking effort into anything and they can just get whatever woman they want. Stay away from those guys. Okay. Like, yes, this is... if he makes you feel all these things, then yeah, he's for you. He's perfect. He's great. It just makes me a little bit nervous that, you know, this is like seems like to be the first guy that she dated. However, they both love Disneyland. You know, they both seem to like to do the same things. They're very family oriented, whatever. That's all that matters.
He doesn't seem like he's really interested in the fame, which makes me happy. And it seems like he has some money. Yeah. Which are two things I think would make me nervous. So it's like, and he seems to really love Truly. And he seems like a good father. So it's a little bit of like, great. You know, that's just enough. Yeah. I mean, I think, and maybe that's what she was looking for. Maybe it had nothing to do with the rest of it. Maybe she was like the first person that makes me feel like I'm safe, or I'm loved, or I'm seen or desired.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that. And it's turned into this big love story in her mind. But I am very, very, if I really, really want all of this to be true for her, I really do.
Oh, absolutely.
I really do.
I know. I'm just a little bit jaded with the timeline, but look, everything seems great. They're married now. You know, it's all good. But yeah, I'm curious to actually hear him speak, and next week to like see what he has to say and hear him speak, and that'll be. Oh, and then of course Kody has to put a black cloud over it and say, well, she has to. What did he say? Something about how she has to tear me down, you know, because David won't want to marry her if she left a good man. It's like, newsflash, Kody, you're not that great. Okay.
And guess what? You know what? God. David isn't thinking about you at all. He is not thinking about you one iota. And you know what? Christine isn't thinking about you one iota. These two are doing it in the back of their car right now. And they are not thinking about you at all.
They never think about
those
you,
two are,
except when, you know, Christine has to show up and do these confessionals and answer questions. And she has a very healthy attitude about it. I mean, I feel like all three of them, Meri, Janelle, Christine, they've all come to the place where I feel like they've really drawn boundaries with Kody. They're all in a really good place. I mean, Janelle just laughs. She just laughs and laughs. Like every time something comes up about Kody, she thinks it's hilarious. Meri's like, it's not my problem. I'm moving on. Christine's like, oh my God, it's so not my problem. Like, I don't even think about Kody. I don't even want to think about Kody and Robyn. Not right now. No, I'm just living my life. I mean, they have all moved on, and it's just Kody and Robyn that are stuck in this like place of misery. They're both miserable.
Yes.
Both of them.
Yes. So, you know what? God will get you. It all comes around. It's a little thing called karma. So,
wow.
Well, this show is 42 minutes long, and we've talked for an hour and 12.
Oh, gosh. All right. So it seems like there's one more tell-all next week. And then, I don't know if they take a break for Christmas. And then are we getting a wedding special?
We're very confused.
I bet you they'll announce the wedding special next week after the interview with David Woolley. I'm sure they'll announce that's probably happening in January. But then I heard something today on somewhere, something about a special Christmas episode. I don't know.
See, I saw somewhere where there's a bunch of programming like throughout the holiday. You keep wanting to take the holidays off.
Well, I'm going to take some time off.
Okay,
I'm giving you notice.
Well, we'll still have shows.
Yes, we'll still have shows.
We'll still have shows.
It might not be, like
we are doing
the day after, the day after it airs.
But we have, we obviously will be here next week to do the fourth tell-all. We are doing some crossovers that we're super excited with other podcasts that focus on sister wives as well. We will announce that. And so we're hoping to put those in towards the end of the season. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot. So we will try to figure it all out. If you, we are continuing, so obviously we talk about sister wives on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, we are covering documentaries. This week, we are covering the documentary Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God. And whew, boy, that was a doozy. We've been covering lots of cults lately. We did Escaping Twin Flames last week. I can't even remember what we did the week before. State of Alabama versus Brittany Smith, and lots of different documentaries. Next week, we're doing the Between Life and Death, the Terry Schiavo story, which was so fascinating. So keep an eye out for that. If you like this podcast, please give us a 5-star rating and review. And please make sure that you are subscribed. The ratings and reviews and subscriptions and all of that, it helps us tremendously. And if you like this podcast, please tell a friend, tell 2 friends, spread the word. We really appreciate all of the support. We are on Instagram and TikTok at Psych Legal Pop. So if you follow us there, you will, get updates on what's going on and what's happening with the show. And I think, is that it? Is that everything?
I think so. Just stay tuned. We're, I'm trying to take a few days off during the holidays, but Tess won't let me. So,
no,
we'll still be.
We have to stay consistent. Listen, Brooke, that one day where we decided we could not do this podcast at like 10 o'clock at night on Sunday anymore after watching the show, and we moved from Monday to Tuesday, people were writing in.
Yeah, they thought something bad happened to us.
Yes, people care. So we cannot let our podcast listeners down.
I'm going to give our loyal listeners who we love a little bit of advance notice that if we don't come out with a podcast,
we'll let you know.
But even if we don't let you know, don't worry about us. We're fine. Please enjoy your holiday be with your family. Don't worry about us.
Yes,
we'll be back.
It won't be a week of no shows. There may be a week in there where it's one show. So that's all we're saying. We're not going to abandon you completely. It's just more of, it's a lot to do it's a lot to do 2 shows a week. And Brooke's daughter is in town, and she's only gracing us with her presence.
I don't have a lot of time
for a very, very short amount of time. God, I got to get my time in with her too. Jesus Christ. I don't think we're going to I guess there'll be no special days. I got to schedule time to see her.
Yeah. So see,
she's just busy.
You know what I mean? So everybody don't worry. And whatever you're doing, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah. Didn't Hanukkah start like yesterday, day before.
Yes, Hanukkah started.
Yes.
We're on day, gosh, what day are we on? What started on Thursday? Thursday,
Oh.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. No, we day 5?
Well, happy Hanukkah to all
6?
who celebrate.
Yes, happy Hanukkah. Happy anything, whatever you
holidays.
celebrate. But we're not, we'll be back on Thursday. So
We act like this is so
We're
final.
tired.
Like something's
Okay.
happening. No. Anyway, we'll see. Yeah, we'll be here in a couple days.
all right. We'll talk
All
to you
right.
then. Bye.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me the sunshine, give me a dew. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing mountain dew. So give me my good friends, give me a dew.
Grab some friends and an ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.